Willie D Live.
What's up, family? I want to do a quick poll. Who amongst us believe that Donald Trump, your president, is a racist? Give me a thumbs up if you believe Donald Trump is a racist. Thumbs down if you say, hell no, man, not my president, man, you're overreacting. Leave that alone. I'll give you a few moments to think about it. Okay, time's up. Listen, fam, the verdict is still out for some people. Most people, I think, understand what it is, even no matter what your color is. People understand exactly who Donald Trump is, but there are some holdouts. Some people just don't believe that fat meat is greasy. And it seems like to me they need a little bit more push to make an intelligent decision. Rachel Maddow has something to say about Donald Trump targeting of Black people in America in his second term, his overt targeting of Black people. I want you to hear what she had to say.
But on the issue of race, on the treatment of African Americans specifically, even being terrible at what they're doing has still proven to be disastrous for our country. And it is in part the posturing and from the White House and the president. That is stuff that validates and excites the worst bigots in the country, and that is consequential. But it's more than that, too. We are now about 16 months into what has been from day one a concerted and intense targeting of Black Americans, specifically by this president and by this administration. On his first full day in office, he proclaims war on diversity efforts, not only in government, but in any institution in the country over which he can exert leverage, everything from schools and universities to law firms to private businesses of every stripe. He then immediately started firing some of the highest profile Black public officials in the whole U.S. government, seemingly regardless of any other thing about them. I mean, right away, we get the firing of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Charles C.Q. Brown. We get the firing of the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden. And then it's Gwynne Wilcox from the National Labor Relations Board. And then it's Robert Primus, the chair of the Surface Transportation Board. And then it's Alvin Brown from the NTSB. And then it's Peggy Carr, the head of the National Center for Education Statistics. And then it's Willie Phillips from FERC, from the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. And then it's Lisa Cook from the Federal Reserve Board of Governors, and on and on and on. When Trump and his top political donor, Elon Musk, then started just lopping off huge swaths of the federal government to disastrous practical effect, the largest and most egregious cuts targeted federal agencies that employed a disproportionate number of Black employees.
I wish for one election that every Black person would vote Republican.
Reporter Erica Green wrote about this a few months ago for The Times, noting that nothing had moved backwards in the federal government for Black Americans this quickly or this far in over 100 years, since Woodrow Wilson came in 1912 and resegregated the federal workforce.
I wish for one election that every Black person would vote Republican.
Quote, Black employees were fired or demoted to lower-level jobs, relegated to separate and inferior lunchrooms and other facilities, and accused of making white women feel unsafe. Those who remained were humiliated. A Black worker in the Postal Service was surrounded by screens, so white workers would not have to look at him. Another employee had a cage built around him to separate him from his white counterparts. A clerk in the Treasury Secretary's office was assigned to rewrite all correspondence to address Black employees by their first names. The way Trump addressed the Librarian of Congress, Carla Hayden, by her first name when he crowed publicly about firing her for no reason.
I wish for one election that every Black person would vote Republican.
In the year of our Lord, 2025, and now 2026, this president and this administration is not just inheriting that history from the Wilson administration, it's furthering it in its own ways. Since 1965, there has been an executive order in effect. It was signed by Lyndon Johnson, 1965. Since 1965, all federal contractors have been banned by executive order from discriminating on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, or national origin. Donald Trump rescinded that 1965 rule on his first full day in office. Less than a month later, Trump announced another rule change. They rescinded Clause 52.222-21 of the Federal Acquisition Regulation, which doesn't sound like much, but I'll tell you what the title of that is. It's Prohibition of Segregated Facilities. That's what Trump rescinded less than 1 month into being back in the White House. That section reads, quote, the contractor agrees that it does not and will not maintain or provide for its employees any segregated facilities at any of its establishments, and that it does not and will not permit its employees to perform their services at any location under its control where segregated facilities are maintained.
Before I go any further, fam, shout out to D.L. Hughley. That's where I saw this story at. Let me tell you something, family. There are so many people that we're walking on right now that we are indebted to, who fought for these gains that we've had, these micro gains we've had over the last few decades, several decades. There is so much work that has been pretty much dismantled by Trump. I mean, they came out blazing. That 2025 agenda was real. And they went in day one executing it. We were warned. We warned others about it. And everybody thought, nah, that ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. Man, they wouldn't do that. Why would they do that? That don't even make sense. Get rid of EEOC, oh, nah, get rid of DEI. Oh, nah, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. It's happening, fam. People literally died for these gains. I mean, people lost their lives, lost their livelihood. People were ostracized. And not just Black people, even the people that tried to help. Some people who tried to help, including white people, were murdered for these gains. And they just rolling the back. I mean, just straight up targeting Black. Like, if you Black, you had to get in. You had to be DEI, so we're going to fire you. They just straight out firing people, just straight up based on their skin color. Like Trump ain't got a whole entire cabinet of DEIs, an entire cabinet of unqualified, incompetent people to the highest level. I can get the white racist and the racist Latinos who think they're white. I get that. I can get them. I understand that. But for one Black person to see what's going on and be in agreement with this, it lets me know something. It tells me something real cynical about you. Yeah, the Democrats ain't perfect. Yeah, they mess up. They got certain things that they do that I don't agree with, man. I don't agree with everything the Democrats do. I don't disagree with everything they do. I don't agree with everything the Republicans do, but I disagree with a lot of stuff that they do. I don't disagree with everything that they do. I said a lot of stuff that they do, I disagree with. Certain things are not negotiable. Common humanity is not negotiable. Equity is not negotiable. Inclusion is not negotiable. What they're doing is cold-blooded. And it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets better.
Segregation clause has been in government contracts for decades. Donald Trump overtly reached out to rescind it, which means bluntly that the federal government no longer explicitly prohibits contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains.
I wish for one election that every Black person would vote Republican.
Make America great again, right? Recently fired and sidelined employees in the Department of Housing and Urban Development have started sounding the alarm that the Trump administration is no longer, just bluntly no longer enforcing a federal law known as the Fair Housing Act. Fair Housing Act, another pillar of the civil rights movements and its achievements. The Fair Housing Act dates to 1968. It says you can't refuse to rent to someone or refuse to sell a house to someone on account of their race, or their color, or religion, or national origin, or any other factor against which we're supposed to be protected from discrimination. According to current and former employees of the Department of Housing and Urban Development under Donald Trump, they have dropped enforcement of the Federal Housing Act. In Trump's first year back in office, black unemployment spiked in this country from 6.2% all the way up to 7.5%, making it the highest of all racial groups. Under Joe Biden, black unemployment had been at a record low of 4.8%, spiking now under Donald Trump.
I wish for one election that every black person would vote Republican.
The Trump administration, generally speaking, is bad at its work. It is bad at what it sets its mind to, in all sorts of ways. But black Americans, African Americans, have been targeted by this administration in a concerted way that has nevertheless been devastating, even though the Trump administration isn't good at anything they set their mind to. And that was all before the conservative majority on the U.S. Supreme Court, including all of Trump's appointees, voted to effectively end the Voting Rights Act a few days ago. As soon as the court said they would take up that case, people started mapping the worst case scenario for what Trump and the Republicans would do, particularly in the South, if the court gutted the Voting Rights Act of 1965, the crowning achievement of the civil rights movement. And the before and after looks like the snapback after the end of Reconstruction, after the Civil War. I mean, look at the state of Louisiana there. A third of the population of Louisiana is black. Louisiana's Republican governor canceled congressional elections that are already underway in that state to rush through new maps that will presumably make sure that even though 1/3 of the population of that state is black, there will be no black representation in Congress for Louisiana at all. South Carolina, a quarter of the population is black. They have one majority-minority district represented by an African-American Democrat, Jim Clyburn. They are going to try to get rid of that one black district so that South Carolina is all white, all Republican in representation, while a quarter of the people who live in that state are black.
I wish for one election that every black person would vote Republican.
In Tennessee, 1 in 6 residents is black. Republicans now want to make sure all 9 congressional seats in Tennessee are white. All 9 of them. They want it to be 9 to nothing, white and Republican, when 1 in 6 people in that state is black.
Let me ask you, let me just say this, fam. If race doesn't matter, because I hear some of these black Republicans say, man, we need to get the best person for the job in, that don't matter. If race doesn't matter, why is it that they're only targeting black voters? Why are they only trying to suppress the black vote? Why are they only redistricting where they're redrawing the lines to gobble up black representation, to disenfranchise black voters? Why not disenfranchise white voters? Why not disenfranchise Latino voters? They're only drawing up the lines to disenfranchise black voters, and they're trying to take the seats of black elected officials or would-be elected officials. This is the game that they're playing. So you got black people, you got people out there, especially black people, who say, the ones who are Trump supporters, what I want to know is, and this is the stupidest shit I've ever heard. Man, what I want to know is why all the blacks was cool with Trump until he started running for president. damn fool is because it wasn't until he ran for president that we understood his policies and until we understood his beliefs. Have taken a picture where he got all these pictures with all these black celebrities and they loved him. Say blacks, celebrity and politicians and business people go together like a hand in glove, no matter what. A picture, furthermore, a picture does not capture character. A picture captures a moment. So just because somebody's in a picture with somebody does not mean that they have some type of insight on who that person is and that person's beliefs and that person's entire character. We all have a public persona and a private persona, right? Come on, fam. Yeah, because he took a picture with some black folks and Mike Tyson is his friend. He ain't racist. Oh, because he had a black girlfriend. How many slave owners had black girlfriends and black wives? Dummy. Come on, fam. If race don't matter, well, why is it that Trump's entire cabinet is white, but save for the hood president? We got one dude in his whole cabinet that's black. Just one black person in his entire cabinet. Just one. If you look at the cabinet and you look at the representation, it's 100% lopsided. If black people make up 15% of the population, I think it's more like 20%, 20, 25. But if black people make up 15% of the population, then we should have 15% of the representation within that cabinet. Nobody's talking about that cabinet. Nobody's talking about that. But let that have been Barack Obama came in there and had and these faces would have been flipped to black. And there would have been one white person over there. Man, they talk about wanting their country back. Come on, fam. This is ridiculous. This dude is after black people. And he's trying his best to roll back every single gain that our ancestors made. I can't stand this mother. I can't say, man. I can't stand him and I can't stand anybody who enables him. Dude is the worst of the worst. The Democrats ain't ideal, but they damn sure are better than this administration. One thing that would not have happened, is all of these civil rights rollbacks. That would not have happened. That would not have happened if Kamala Harris had been president. Oh, she wouldn't have been ideal. I don't think she'd have been ideal. She would have made some mess ups too. Absolutely, she would have messed up some stuff. But man, it would have been nowhere close. It wouldn't have been nowhere near what's going on right now. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Shouts out to Racial Matter. No more talk.